Welcome back, everyone. This talk is on how supermarket psychology can derail your health. How is that, Stephanie? Welcome. I'm Theresa Garnero.
I'm Stephanie Bouquet, and we are both diabetes educators. I'm a registered dietitian, and Theresa is a registered nurse. And today we are going to walk you through the supermarket. Theresa, do you like to shop?
I actually am enjoying shopping.
Okay. I am not a big supermarket shop. I do not like to grocery shop. Kind of funny as a dietitian. But I think probably because there is a little bit of psychology behind it. Just in case you're not aware, did you know that supermarkets are designed to increase sales? Well, that makes sense, but it's how they place items. Food items that are placed close to the entrance are to stimulate senses. I know my grocery store has a little florist shop. There's a bakery, a deli. So all those great smells as you're walking in actually equate to more money being spent.
More
So,
time, the longer
yeah,
you're
more
there,
time.
right?
Exactly.
Yeah, and do I like shopping? No, but once I get there, it's kind of fun.
Yeah, a lot of things can end up in your cart that way.
I
But
wouldn't
as
know anything about that.
No, of course not. But the essential healthy foods, like most of us, are going to go and get some form of a dairy product. We're going to get milk or nut milk or something, bread, eggs. They are placed in the farthest location away from the store entrance, so that you got to walk through the entire store. So why not pick up a couple other things as
That's
go
right.
along?
Get your steps in.
Um, Exactly. Featured items are displayed at the end of your aisles. They're called end caps. So, sales and those kinds of things, not always healthy things, but they're going to be in full view for you. Also, very interesting, top brand food companies, they pay a lot of money. They pay premium dollar to have their products displayed at eye level on the shelves. So if you think about that, you're looking at crackers, for example. Some of those big brands, those crackers that you're going to want, basically are at eye level. Maybe healthier varieties might be a little, you're going to have to work a little bit. And we'll talk about that. You might have to bend down or reach up to grab them.
That's really interesting. I didn't know that, but it kind of makes sense. It's like,
Sure.
it's all about real estate.
It is, exactly. And so here we go with the healthier foods being housed in harder to reach spots, just as I mentioned. And then who can't, go away from the grocery store without pulling some of those impulse items that are usually right by the checkout line, the candy bar or the little mini bag of chips or something like that. Those usually are right there, ready for you.
Yeah, it's a reward. Look, I went shopping. I might as well give myself a
Exactly.
little treat.
Right. And the philosophy is we're going to get you in there and then we're going to keep you in there so that you're going to spend more money. So other strategies that are used to increase grocery shopping, think about this as a shopping cart versus the little basket you can grab when you go in. It kind of
Mm.
goes back to that primitive kind of hoarding tendencies. Like, I don't know when I'm going to get back here. Let me just kind of, here's a big cart, to fill up as much as possible. We found this to really be the case during the pandemic, and
Yeah, no
people would
kidding.
go in and just have multiple carts and really fill up because who knew? You buy 6 gallons of milk at one time.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the color red entices people to grab. Oh wow, it's on sale, right? So all sale signs are usually have a red font to them. So look
And
next time you
hasn't
go.
hasn't the shopping carts increased in size too? I mean, feels like everything's increased.
Absolutely. It's just as we talk about food portions over, the decades that portion sizes have gotten bigger. Same thing with
Mhm.
the shopping carts. And that probably has to do with that people are eating more at one seating for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. This is so interesting to me. Think about what is the flow of your grocery store when you go shopping. If you're the flow, so if you walk in and it naturally lets you go clockwise like a clock, then you will actually spend less money because the flow is better. If your store has a counterclock flow, meaning that you walk in and you have to go backwards, right? Then you actually spend, because you're in the store more, takes longer. You're actually, the studies have shown that you're going to spend about $2 more spent per trip. I think it's more than that, but
Is that
so I
kind of
found
like
that interesting.
IKEA's strategy? You know, you have to go through the whole thing.
That's right. Exactly. Okay. And then also most of the grocery stores now, unless they're just small mom and pop stores, they have additional services within the store. So you can, it's a one-stop shop. I'll go to the pharmacy. I will mail my packages. I'll pick up a bouquet, get some lottery tickets, withdraw some money, and I'll go grocery shopping. So I'm in the store for
Yeah.
a longer period of time.
Or if you're at
It's
Costco,
convenient.
I'll get my eyes checked.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Exactly. And then, since I've been there so long, then I'll just go out to the food court and get something to eat. Yeah.
Right. Very interesting.
Yeah. So what can we do to kind of work against that, or some strategies for savvy shopping? This is probably number one. This is such common sense, but to avoid grocery shopping when you're hungry. When we're hungry, and this relates to our blood sugar drops. And if we ignore those symptoms, basically our brain is just telling us, you just need to feed me. I need something quick and I need to get my blood sugar up. And so our desire for what we call refined carbohydrates is going to increase. So those are fast. Give me that candy bar. Give me, those chips, whatever it may be.
So that's my issue.
Yeah. And everything, I mean, if you think about it, when you're hungry, do carrots really sound that great?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, right. We want something that's gonna, taste really good and get our blood sugar up quickly. This is, I think, very important, is to make a grocery store list and stick with the list. It's great to make a list, but if you don't use it, it's not going to be really important or helpful. So this will help prevent impulse grabbing of extras just because it's on sale. I don't know if it 100% works, but it certainly helps. Or if you know the layout of your store, make your grocery list according to that layout.
Yeah, I like to do that. I like to, group the foods together. I might type up a list on my phone, like in an email, and then like move things around in the notes section so that it makes it easier.
Exactly. And so you're in there less time, the chances of buying extra are less as well. Good recommendation also is to shop the perimeter of the store or the outside of the store, and try to stay away from the aisles in between. Most of the packaged processed foods are in those aisles in between. Think about what's on the perimeter of your store. What kinds of foods do you have?
Veggies.
Right. Veggies, maybe dairy products, lean meats, again, all whole intact foods versus bags and packages. Okay. And then to be prepared for a little exercise while shopping. See, this is another thing. You can get your exercise in. You can do some strength training. You can squat down to find your healthier choices, or reach up. Just don't tweak your back while doing that. But I have done this in the past because I don't enjoy grocery shopping very much, is I will set the timer on my phone. And I will just set, okay, I'm going to be in here 25 minutes, and whatever I get, I get. So sometimes that helps with impulse buying.
Yeah. I think it might also be
doesn't sound like you do that.
Yeah, or time to see how much you normally spend in there to see.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You can do that too.
What's the 5 and 20 rule?
Yeah. So this is just a little helpful tip. If you do use the food labels, which I hope you do, if you're going to buy something that's packaged, I think this will definitely decrease the amount of time that you're in the store. Because if you're worried about labels and then you're comparing and you go, oh my gosh, I have all these numbers to look at. So this gives an example of our food label. The 5 and 20 rule is a fast way to look at those percentages you see on the right hand of the label. The way that they're supposed to be used, those percentages are basically to obtain in no more than 100% of all those nutrients that are listed per day. But, it's not like you have every single food that you're eating right then and there. So it's a little confusing. So how you use the 5 and 20 rule is if a particular nutrient that you're looking at, let's say you want to watch how much carbohydrate you're eating, because that carbohydrates make your blood sugar go up. If that number is 5% or less, that means it's a very poor source of that nutrient. So if we're trying to manage how many carbohydrates we're eating, that might be a good choice if it's 5% or less. If it is on the flip side, if that percentage is 20% or higher, that means it's a very high source of that nutrient. And so you may not want to consume a ton of total carbohydrate, but it could be very positive for something that you do want to have a lot of, like fiber in your diet. So an example, the fiber there lists 25%. So that means if you're eating that particular product, 1.5 cups, as it's listed there on the label, you're going to have a very high fiber or rich source of fiber because it's above that 20%. On the flip side, that total fat, if you're just go up to total fat, the 4 grams, that's at 5%. So that means that's a low source of that particular nutrient. So that would be a good choice. If it doesn't fit 5 or 20, how do we figure it out? Well, if it's closer to 5, it's going to be a lower source. If it's closer to 20, it's going to be a higher source. So our total carbohydrates there are 17%. Sodium is 19%. So those are both closer to 20. So we would count them as high sources of sodium or carbohydrate.
Very clever.
So it's actually a lot faster than trying to calculate a lot of numbers. Just remember those two.
Very, very clever.
Yeah. And then lastly, I thought we would just throw in a grocery store checklist. You can actually go to the website that's listed down at the bottom and print this list out. But it really just breaks down foods into food groups, gives you better ideas to keep your blood sugars intact. So look, it actually gives you, for example, in the grain group, some tips, what to look for, words like corn or oats, quinoa. Those are whole grains that are going to be better options than maybe a white bread, that type of thing. So there are tips in each of the different categories as well.
Wow, I really appreciate the insights on knowing it's almost like walking into any store. I know this is related to food, but it just provides a whole new lens. Like when you go into like a clothing store, there's all this psychology about how you, and once you enter the store, what do you see? And of course it would apply to grocery shopping in the supermarket. So thank you for these tips.
Sure. I think bottom line, you have to realize a business is a business and they're out for the, the money aspect of it. So you have to keep your health as the first priority and kind of walk around some of these things.
Excellent. Now I'm going to have to time myself. Thanks, Stephanie.
Thank you.
Thanks.